Stephen Moore. Stephen, good morning. I mean, when you read that headline, looks like the president has a long uphill battle ahead for him, right?
Yeah, my White House sources are telling me that although Joe Biden keeps maintaining this stiff upper lip when it comes to inflation, and their line is, it's been the last couple of months, that this is transitory, that they are freaked out about inflation. They understand the political and economic dynamics of inflation. If it goes higher, 5, 6, 7%, that is both a big problem for stocks and the economy generally, but it's also a big political problem for Biden. They remember what happened with Jimmy Carter, that Jimmy Carter's presidency was ruined by 10% inflation. They don't want to get anywhere near that. And, it's a problem because here they are trying to pass this $4 trillion spending bill. And I heard your previous conversation about this, and you were right that, if you want to stop inflation, you don't spend a $4 trillion debt bill. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, look, the Fed meeting starts tomorrow. We'll get the latest update from them on Wednesday in a statement. Look, they're facing, as we've just talked about, rising prices. We've got rising COVID cases. We've got a global supply chain that's still not operating as it should be. These are a lot of things for the Fed to consider, right?
Yeah, and I think the big one there is the jitters about, the variant on COVID. That is something that could lead to shutdowns in Europe and hopefully not in the United States. But there is some talk about that. We're seeing new max mandates and in some places, some selected places in the United States, you're starting to see some talk about lockdowns again. That would be obviously very negative for the economy. I think there's a good chance we'll avoid that. But there is a possibility. And just when we thought COVID was behind us, now we're seeing these rising cases with the Delta variant.
I was going to ask you, Stephen, do you think the economy and the rebound has somewhat peaked, or are you one of those that believe there's still a little further ways to go before we hit that peak?
Boy, that's a tough question. If you'd asked me a month ago, I would have said, look, I think for the rest of the year, the economy looks really strong. And I'm just going to stick with this, but I'm a little more pessimistic now. I think the markets are starting to see how lunatic these fiscal policies are that are coming out of the White House. There's been a big bet, in my opinion, on Wall Street. The big bet is this: the Republicans will be able to stop the tax increases and the massive spending. And I think that's still yet to be determined, right? I mean, the fate of the Western world rests on the shoulders of Joe Manchin, because if he sides with the Democrats and they push this stuff through without a single vote, which they could potentially do, that would be, I think, extremely reckless. And I think it would be very bad for the markets. And so that's the big bet. Can the Democrats push this thing through, both the tax increase and the $4 trillion spending bill, without a single Republican vote? Because I guarantee you, they don't have any Republican votes on this. And even the bipartisan bill, the so-called bipartisan bill, is in a lot of trouble right now.
Exactly. All eyes, as it always seems, all eyes on Joe Manchin. All right, Stephen Moore, thank you so much. Appreciate your comments today. Thank you, Stephen.